respected brothers, before we begin, each of us sitting here, we'd all like to change the world, make the world better for us and the world at large. We can't change the world, but we must change what we can in our capacity. One very easy sunnah that we can do, please brothers, move forward, close the gaps. Not because I'm asking you, but because you are Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's why you're moving forward and you're pulling from the front side. Allah reward us all. Resurrect us in the company of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Bismillah al-Rahman ar-Rahim. Abadna ghayrahu shakina. Habada rabbu habadina. اللهم صل على محمد كل ما كنت غافلين وصل على محمد كل ما غفرت للغافلين. أنا أشهد رضي الله عنه قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم له إن فيك خصلتين يحبهم الله الحلم والأنات. رواه مسلم. As Muslims, we understand that there is the lines of the Sharia, the commands of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that we have to obey. And each of us, to the best of our ability, we try to obey those lines. What we must do, we will do, and what we mustn't do, we don't do. However, in our worldly life, we don't settle for just the line. We try to better ourselves. If I had an old phone, eventually I want to upgrade. If I have an old car, eventually I want something more comfortable. If I can afford to live in a better house, a better area, all these things, I don't settle now, this is the line, this hoof will do, end of story. I try to improve myself. So similarly, while we obey Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam within the line, surely for our akhirah we should also try and upgrade ourselves. That okay, this is allowed in Sharia and fine, I've done the minimum, but how can I please Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam more? We find in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam does not just settle for immediate and what is this action limit to, but the teachings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam indicate that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also had a concern for what is the long-term effects of an action and how does it affect the outlook, the way a Muslim should think. For example, when Aisha radiallahu anha distributed meat in charity, and she said, all the meat is gone, there's only the meat of the shoulder left of that sheep which had been slaughtered. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, no, it's the other way around. All that meat that you gave in charity that you say is gone, that is the meat that is remaining, because that is the meat for us that's going to stay as sadaqah in the akhirah. And that meat that you say that's left for us that we can eat, that is going to be consumed, that's going to be gone. That is actually the meat that is gone. So, trying to change the mindset, the way of thinking of the Muslims to something just beyond just what we see in the world, but for long-term effects and the akhirah. That was part of the mission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And long-term effects. The Treaty of Hudaybiyah. On the surface, the Treaty of Hudaybiyah was a major defeat for the Muslims. In every way, it was a disadvantage to the Muslims. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saw beyond that. Imam Zuhri Rahmatullah alayhi, writes that in about that 18 years of Islam before Hudaybiyah, it was 18 years of Islam. And the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, which was supposed to be so disadvantaged for the Muslims, but allowed the Muslims now to preach Islam. More people became Muslim in the 2 years of Hudaybiyah than in the 18 years of Islam before that. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked long term and he looked at what is the effects of things. What I want to focus on is technology. I use technology. I'm not saying technology is haram. Let's get that straight. What I am asking us as Muslims is this, what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam indicated, that think about the effects of things and think about the way a Muslim should think. Let us apply this to our technology as well. Whether something is permissible or not, that is not my question. But what I'm saying is that we are adults or grown-ups in certain ways. Let us use our minds and be more intelligent in the way we use our technology and ask, does the pleasure of Allah lie in the way I'm behaving or not? Even if Sharia and the line is not being crossed, but can I better myself in the way I'm using my technology? Or is Allah not happy with the way I'm using my technology? Simple things. For example, the hadith which I recited, Ashaj radiallahu anhu, he was the chief of the Abdul Qais tribe. And this tribe now came to Medina to embrace Islam. And obviously everybody was very excited because it was the first time that with their eyes that would see Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, see that blessed face. How can they not be excited? As soon as they reached Medina, everybody of the tribe, they just jumped off the camels and they ran straight to the masjid. We want to see Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Can you blame them? Would we not have acted the same way? However, Ashaj, the chief of the tribe, he got down calmly from his camel, tied up his camel nicely, cleaned himself up, dusted himself off from the dust of the journey, made himself presentable, and long after everybody else, then he only came to the masjid and he met Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him that there are two such qualities in you that Allah loves us. Number one is hilm, forbearance, patience. And number two is anat. I don't know a single English word that applies for anat, but anat means that you first pause and you think and then you act. You don't just jump into it. Now consider this. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam clearly says that Allah loves this. That before you do anything, you first pause, you think, and then you act. I can be in a meeting, I can be speaking to an elder, I can be speaking to my mother, my father, and a message comes. Straight away, I look, what's the message? And straight away, I have to type in a reply. The whole ethos of this Western technology is hurry. You must give a reply within 2 seconds. You got an email, you must reply. I sent you an email 2 minutes ago. Why have you not replied? I sent you a WhatsApp 2 seconds ago and you still have not replied. Immediately that reply. Of course we must reply, it is good manners. But what did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tell us? Allah loves that you first pause and you think, and then you act. Consider how much harm there is in the way that we have abandoned this, just this one etiquette. Sometimes you choose the wrong word and you offend your brother, you offend your sister, you offend your wife, or the wife offends the husband. Because the culture is, I must quickly reply. Immediately, I mustn't first think the way Rasulullah taught us. Hurry to reply. Relationships can be affected. Fitna and problems created in the community. Why? Because the other teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that you first verify information before you spread it out. Today, as soon as a WhatsApp came, can be any nonsense. The Pope became Muslim. Immediately I sent to 20 people, 20 people sent to 100 people. Within 5 minutes it's gone to 10,000 people, and that false information never ever can be retracted. Whereas Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam commanded us, first verify if the information is correct, then you spread out that information. But this Western technology says, no, hurry, spread out. And what is that? What is your motivation? It is your ego. That I want the whole world to know about this. It must come from me before it comes from my brother Ibrahim. I must know. I must be the spreader. I am great. I'm the one that knows all the information. That is the only motivation. Where is your motivation? Is supposed to be following the command of Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So by all means, use the technology, spread information that is good, but do we use this in the way that Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has commanded us? That one wrong lie, someone can spread a false hadith. Today's people say, this is a hadith and spread it out, and you just spread it out. We are ulama and our ulama groups. Verify, spread only what comes from proper sources. If you have told a lie against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and with this technology, that lie against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam can go to 10,000 people in 10 minutes. On the day of Qiyamah, you will have to answer for lying against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam 10,000 times. Nobody says the phone is haram, but the way we are using it definitely can ruin our akhirah. Our basic manners taught to us. When we speak about the greatness of Islam, people speak about Islam had such empires, and Islam gave this technology, and Islam invented this and all that. In its place, for me, the outstanding feature of Islam is Surah Nur. That before Surah Nur, mankind were barbarians, uncouth, disrespectful. And in Surah Nur, Allah taught us basic manners, etiquette, and made us civilized human beings. In Surah Nur, how to make salam, how to meet people, how to knock on someone's door. Things that we take for granted, it's not automatic. These are things that Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam taught us, and things that we forget today. If in Surah Nur you are allowed and you are commanded to respect a person's privacy, that if I knock on your door, you are not obligated to open the door for me and I can come in. You are within your rights that you do not open your door for me. That is your privacy, that is your home. That is when I come to you, physically, you don't have to open your door to me. Now tell me, if I am talking to you, now Muslims, not just Muslims, people, the Quran even mentions, never mind rights of neighbors, the Quran mentions Sahib al-Jam, a companion on your right side, on your side. That brother that's sitting next to you now in the masjid, or in the bus, or in the taxi, That is sahib al-jam, a temporary neighbor. Even if for 1 minute he was your neighbor, he is your neighbor that will be answerable on the day of Qiyamah. Did I sit nicely or did I disturb my brother? Did I push my brother? Did I push out the elbows in salah and disturb my brother? He is your sahib al-jam, he is your neighbor. Even for that 1 minute you will be answerable for. When two people are talking, he has a right over you. That is a majlis, that is an Islamic gathering. When two Muslims are talking, you do not have a right to come in between two Muslims when they are talking without asking permission first. So, if you do not have a right to come and disturb two Muslims who are talking and you are there physically, how is it that when two Muslims are talking, I found a Muslim and the Muslim turns his face away from me to answer the phone to a third party who's not even there physically? Is this Islamic etiquette? By all means use the phone. But did you ever stop to think that on the day of Qiyamah you will be answerable, that Allah mentions this is a sahib al-jam. Did you fulfill the right of your sahib al-jam? Is this the etiquette of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, or have you completely lost the etiquette of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam in your life? So my time is up. There's so much more that I would like to speak about. But in short, let us use our intellect. Technology is there to make our lives easier. Let it not be that we use our technology in such a way that we will regret on the day of Qiyamah. And I'm not even talking about the obvious things, watching pornography or doing something completely out. I'm talking about the finer points that we should be also aware of a Muslim, the etiquette and behavior of a Muslim. There is etiquette behavior of a Muslim physically, so there will also be etiquette when using our phones. Allah give me tawfiq and all of us tawfiq. وَمَا عَلَيْنَا إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ.